energies. Today is July 6th, 2025. And I've been getting outside, getting some sun codes in this Sirius alignment with our galactic sun. Supposedly, this is happening right now. Some way showers and teachers that I follow, that I trust, are sharing this knowledge, this information about this alignment happening right now. And with everything that's happening on the world stage right now, especially energetically, with what's happening with the floods, with these solar flares, with volcanoes, the tectonic plates are shifting, because this channel comes from all as self. We have the maxim that all is self. So in other words, we see everything that's happening on the outside that's actually something that's happening deeply internal. Okay. And I don't know how you guys have been feeling these last few days. It's been very intense energy, a lot of restlessness, but also very tired, very sleepy. Ascension symptoms such as vertigo, um, you know, um, having to sleep more, having to hydrate differently. I've been feeling hungrier lately, but then I've also not been wanting to eat simultaneously. It's such been a weird flow. And so I know there's something energetically happening to all of us on a collective level. So what I was called to come on here and share with you, I just came from the being out in the sun for about an hour, again hydrating, but I was seeing so many different and feeling so many different energies that I was compelled to pop on here and just share some of what I'm experiencing, and seeing if some of you guys can relate, because these energetics, and I'm here in the northern hemisphere in the United States, things are getting hotter, and so things are speeding up. Anytime that things heat, they speed up. And what I was seeing is like this double helix frequency within me, this DNA spiral speeding up, and it was forming the shape of an infinity symbol. And the infinity symbol was coming from the center point, was coming from my heart, and it was going all the way up past the firmament, or past this false matrix grid, that this overlay that we've all been a part of. And those of you who are in the know, if you know, you know. So this is not here to convince anybody. This is just the download I received. So taking this infinity wave up past the firmament of the false grid onto this, I'm seeing it like a free, like free energy grid, right? Where there's almost going into formless, and then looping around and bringing a new grid into form through this frequency, and then bringing it through my central channel, bringing it through my heart, and then bringing it down to the earth, right? Like this infinity wave symbol. And what they were showing me, and they meaning me, my inner guidance system, because I don't pray or look to outside of myself anymore for anything. What I look at is what's happening internally, because this is a deeply internal alchemic process. Again, if you guys know that, you know that the astrology shows us, and these alignments show us, that there's alchemic processes happening within our systems. A lot of our systems have been confused as to what this is, myself included. So I'm willing every day to drop what I think I know to make room for the new. And when I say new, I say KNEW, right? Which my cells already know to do, but either through a contract or whatever the story may be, I allowed these DNA codes to be disconnected, so that at this time it could be reconnected, right? This is what my inner guidance was showing me. So continuing with this infinity loop wave energetic, right? That's coming from my own spiral in my DNA. I was given the term plasma braille. You're plasma brailing right now. And I said, what plasma brailing? What does that mean? And so I've been working a lot with water and the different phases of water. And, we're like fish swimming underwater, but we don't know we're underwater kind of energy, right? And again, for those that know, you know. And so we're swimming in this plasma field right now because of all the light and all the things that are coming off the sun, and these configurations with the moon, and these alignments with Sirius, and these other fixed star points, that which are codons. I see almost the constellation is codon. And if you follow the gene keys, or Robert Combs, or even Robert Edward Grant stuff, you're going to see the connection points we're talking about with that. So there's these codons, these frequencies these alignments of these fixed stars, which are basically fixed points within us, they get activated during certain cycles or during certain time periods. So we're in that time period now with Jupiter in Cancer, with the sun in Cancer. We're getting ready to have a full moon in Capricorn, which is the axis point of Cancer, which that's where these grids, again, if you follow energy grids, that's where, because again, we're looking at the axis point of Cancer and Capricorn, which they call the tropical zodiac, right? So that's where things come into form in this particular incarnation period, right? So again, I'm just pulling from my own gnosis of what I think I know and then dropping what I think I know, even about astrology, about everything, to make room for the again, the unknown, which again, my guides keep calling it plasma brailing. So what does that mean? So working with the energy of plasma, but also using the braille system. So just like with with people who are blind, who cannot see, they use braille as a way to read the energy, as a way to read words, right? So what I'm being told is, because this false matrix overlay is dissolving, we may not be able to see quite clearly yet where we are traversing into, because these are very unknown places that we are moving into in the cosmic body, if you will, because we've never been here before in consciousness. And so what they keep showing me is like, just read the energy as if you were a blind person learning to read, right? So using your fingers, hand, this is also Gemini. And we know we have Uranus getting ready to ingress into Gemini tomorrow. So I'm already starting to feel the energy of how Gemini wants us to process and to integrate these energies is by feeling, right? This is Jupiter in Cancer. You've got to feel your way through it, because we've never been here. We can't use our imaginations, if you will. This is also Neptune conjunct Saturn, because we're getting new grid points and we're getting a new overlay, if you will, that's connected to our original default, not the false overlay matrix that was created through certain frequencies that are still being bombarded onto this planet. But through awareness and forgiveness, we're able to harness the energy and command the energy, is what I'm hearing. Again, we got Mercury in Leo, which is getting ready to go retrograde on the 18th. So we're learning to command our energy, to command our words, to command our frequency. We do this through a heart-mind coherence, using our minds and our hearts and our wills, right? It's a trifecta. So this is a whole new way to operate. And again, my guides are calling it plasma brailing, to navigate through feeling without having to see it, because the overlay that we've been projecting has been corrupted, like a corrupted file, like an old system, an old operating system. And if you also follow this channel, you understand too that we've had certain AI grids that have been operating on this planetary system for millennia, right? For hundreds of thousands of years. This is also the big reveal with Pluto and Aquarius coming in, because Pluto is the revealer and the transformer of things that are hidden. And it's revealing things that are hidden within what? Aquarius is technology, right? So the technology's always been here. We've always had AI, from my understanding, from my doing my own deep dive, and again, going out of nature, using discernment with all the information that I'm processing right now, because with Jupiter and Gemini that we all just had, there was a lot of information that was being almost like a deluge, right? A flood of information. So even now, when you're looking at the technology and the things that are going on within our weather systems, it's hard to really discern what is truth and what is fake, because there's been so much fake overlay consciousness and news about these technologies that are confusing, right? This is also Neptune. So really the only way through true gnosis and true truth is to do your own deep dive with it, and to trust yourself, to trust what you feel. Again, this is that plasma brailing, where you surf the plasma energy, and how I see it, and how it's been translated through me, in me, by me, for me. Because again, all is self. We all come from one. So these are processes and overlays that have been happening within me now, that are now being dissolved because it was a corrupted file. So, how I liken it is when you get a new upgrade to your phone, right? And you have to get downloaded, and the phone gets wiped out. The phone gets shut off, literally, because you have to get the new download, the new upgrades to the new system, right? So everything outside of us has been created as a way to show our inner operating system. So even the phone as a technological creation based on what we do, right? The ocular, the eyes, the camera, the video, how we're projecting. This is all how we operate, right? So we've been producing these external technologies to remind us of what we are technologically able to do in many different realms and many different dimensions, right? But again, because of this false overlay and this frequency of false light that's dissolving now because the true light sun, central sun, is coming online. It's activating our DNA. We're seeing disruptions in our energetics, and again, how we perceive reality, what we're hearing. You know, some of us might be hearing some different frequencies, tones, things coming through our ears. Um, you might feel like when you're walking vertigo, it's almost like you step into a different realm. You get kind of dizzy and spinny. It's because, again, the alchemy is happening deep within us. And so we need time to integrate and to situate ourselves. So if you find yourself more tired, more depleted, it's happening for you. Again, I like to ask what is right about this. Again, I'm looking at a new operating system. When you get a new new download, right? You need, the phone goes off if you're the technology. It needs to be shut off so that this new system can be integrated and upgraded. So we're being upgraded and integrated right now in ways that we cannot even perceive. So if you can utilize the technology of what's called plasma brailing, in other words, feeling your way into the systems. I was even feeling my way into the geometry and the symbols of astrology and seeing how maybe some of those symbols might have been inverted, that they're getting reverted within me. And again, these are just hypotheses. This is, I'm not hearing anybody else talk about this, but you know, even the sequence of symbols in astrology may have been off. Even if it's just off by a degree, it's going to take you to a completely different location, right? When you, for those of you who play with GPS, you know that if you have the wrong longitude and wrong latitude points, it's going to take you to a completely different space. So what I'm seeing too is that if we're willing to release everything we think we know about everything, and I'm not talking about dissolving anything without stepping into something else, but I am asking, and I know through the Neptunian energy with Aries, we're being asked to be willing to drop what we think we know, what our ego has needed to believe to get us through that density, that dense field of energy. But now that energy field is shifting. So our ego no longer requires us to hold on to that particular belief system or frequency or dimension perception, because all reality is real. Depending on which dimensional plane you live at, if that reality is, if you've experienced in that way, then that is truth for you. So this is where we're learning also to really transition out of and transmute judgment and step into discernment and step into a new knowing of how this quantum field works, because none of us, I think, have been properly shown. And so it's doing the inner work and willing to see your own inner processes in a whole new way. And we do that. What I've been shown is first and foremost by cleaning out the system, doing a detox, learning how to clean out your, you know, again, your operating system, how you're projecting your reality, because this false overlay, I see it almost like a spider web that's just dilapidated, that's falling, it's on its last leg, right? And so there's a new wave matrix or matter matrix, which is like a lattice system that's being harmonized and cymatically created right now through us, by us, for us. And so every time we can witness each other stepping into our power, stepping into our superpowers, turning on our superpowers, and maybe using new technological words like this plasma brailing, again, being able to read the energy without having to see it. And you're starting to see this a lot with the technology, especially within our autistic communities. Watch the telepathy tapes. These kids have already been doing this to a certain degree, to a certain level, to a higher octave level of what humanity is remembering, that we also have this capacity. But again, our DNA has been, I would say, some of us been turned off, right? But we agreed upon that. Again, not looking at the victim, we agreed upon certain covenants and contracts until certain time periods when we would get reactivated. And so now is this time period where we are asked to being reactivated to focus on what you want. Don't get distracted with the world stage. I know there's a lot of our brothers and sisters that are suffering right now, that are going through certain storylines and traumas. And I hold space for all of these energies. But I also while I hold space and send loving energy to them, I also turn and redirect. Oh, the bell's going off as I'm speaking this. I turn and redirect the energy of what I want to see, right? So if there's mass flooding and destruction and fires and dissolution of people's homes, then my focus is okay, so what can we build that will be fireproof, that will be waterproof, insect proof, that the construction, like dome homes, will actually help secure and if there's these planetary weather patterns that are more destructive to say square buildings than they are to round buildings. So let's start focusing on the round buildings, right? So again, acknowledging what's going on, not spiritually bypassing it, feel what you need to feel, but then in the next breath, in the next few breaths, turn to face what it is you need to now want to create, that humanity is asking to be created. And again, this is new food sources, this is new energy sources, this is all have to do with Jupiter and Cancer, right? Ways to feel safe, secure, our monetary systems, our healthcare systems, how we do business. This is also this full moon in Capricorn that's coming up, that's making us get very clear on our business of isness and how we do business with one another, how we exchange commerce, currency, how we utilize our gifts. And these megalithic corporations, right? These giant corpses that literally are dissolving, that we're starting to see now, that it just no longer makes sense to have these where we are going. And this new technology, which is being again turned on within self. So again, this is an inner exploration. I would invite you to start playing with what's considered, and again, the download was what's called plasma brailing, where you feel the energy without having to see it, almost like if you were blind and you were learning to read. You're learning to read the patterns, the energy, and use your discernment of what feels right. And if it doesn't feel right, question it. It's okay. Even if it's a long held standing belief that you learned maybe from early education, early childhood, or from your parents, be willing to question everything at this point and be willing to again I call it put it through a filtration system. And then after you put it through that inner filtration system, what's left standing is that's the alchemic process of turning lead into gold. It's a process. And so we are all in process right now, and we're all seeing it and starting to use the language in a different way. So again, this serious alignment that's happening between July 3rd and July 9th, 369, and it's the 7, right? 7 month. This is Neptune. It's time to get very clear and aligned with your spiritual power, with your spiritual purpose. We all have purpose here, which some of us have amnesia and have forgotten because of the agreed upon matrix and covenants that our ancestors signed, but that we came here to break. Aquarius, the new collective of us has want something different. So we're willing to do the alchemic work within us. This is an inward out experience to change our reality timeline of what we're experiencing outside of us. So I hope this makes sense to you guys. I hope that this brings you some empowerment and some tools, again, some way of recognizing energies that you might already be experiencing, but just don't have the language for it. And I'm just, again, willing to drop the words and the language and express it in a new way. So plasma brailing is another terminology that came through, and I think I'm going to be teaching more about this, what this looks like, because I was getting tons and tons, like terabytes of information on what this could mean. This has to do with learning to surf the wave of the Akashic field in a different type of coherence. Again, I'm thinking of the telepathy tapes where you can use your mind, a new form of telepathy is coming online without actually having to see it, because in the visualization, sometimes that false overlay is not what we think we see, right? So in other words, as these false overlays are dissolving, we need to be able to trust what's really there. And sometimes that means closing our eyes and feeling through what's there without actually having to see it. And that's called plasma brailing. And again, this is something that just came in from my guides, my inner guidance system, that I wanted to share with you. And I hope this makes sense. And yeah, if you can during this time period, go get some sun codes, go ground as much as you can. Also to hydrate as much as you can. I'm really finding a lot of value in magnesium spray, in cell salts, and mineral salts as well. I put a little bit of a dash of Celtic sea salt with lemon in my water, and I drink that, and it seems to be able to help flush out my kidneys. Again, there's also these parasitic energies that are dissolving within us right now, real time. And so just making space, creating the energy and the frequency to release it. And again, some of these parasitic energies are also soul parasites, right? Family parasites, not just physical, but also metaphysical. So this is something to explore within yourself too, as you are navigating these energies, especially during this Sirius alignment. Oh, look, a bluebird just landed. Yeah, and pay attention to nature when nature shows up for you. That's another thing too. Thank goodness I had the tools of awareness, because I was stung by a wasp twice in the last 2 days. So I know I'm getting the micro dose of poison through nature, that's showing me she's giving me tools, she's giving me awareness, and good thing I know to neutralize it through apple. If you guys do get stung, by the way, apple cider vinegar immediately, and then some lavender oil on top of it, and the pain's gone within an hour. Just so you know, just in case you're getting activated by nature as well. And sometimes those of us, we need, nature needs to really get our attention. So some things like that happen, again, are happening for us. So pay attention to the nature spirits and the things that are happening around you, because you're being coded, recoded in a new geometric cymatical form. And the more you can stay in your heart, you can stay present, stay hydrated, stay aware of the energy. Again, because we're all learning to surf and ride these waves without necessarily clear vision. We got to feel our way through it. This is Jupiter in Cancer. So I don't know if you guys can hear a big, huge trucks going by. Thank goodness I have this noise canceling microphone. It's so loud out here. There's a lot of energy moving. So anyway, I hope this makes sense to you. I hope that it brings you, context to maybe some of the energy you might be feeling. And again, just know you're not alone in the process. We are all being upgraded and integrated in different ways. So if you can rest, hydrate, stretch, love yourself, and just know you're in process, then we can all get through this next time period with more grace and ease, if that makes sense. All right, guys, I love you. And I'll be seeing you on the next live soon, okay?